And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
JayZ has long built his empire on the aura of control, authority, and untouchability. Yet under the harsh glare of public scrutiny, fractures are starting to appear in the polished image he and Beyonce have maintained for nearly 20 years. Rumors of secret children, quiet payoffs, and betrayal are swirling, threatening to unravel the myth of perfection that has followed one of music's most powerful couples. At the center of this storm is Letitia Macca, a Maryland woman who claims she is not just another voice demanding attention, but the eldest daughter of JayZ himself.
Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me.
In contradiction to the flawless family portrait the world has been shown, Letitia has been unyielding in her pursuit of recognition. She's taken her accusations to social media, transforming her Instagram feed into what feels like a manifesto of defiance. Her username is bold and unambiguous, Jay's first daughter. Her posts carry the conviction of someone who has carried silence for too long. "I've been quiet for far too long," she declared, pushing what might have remained whispered gossip into the bright light of public discourse. According to her, the truth was never hidden within her household. Her family always told her JayZ was a father. Now, she urges the world to recognize not only the resemblance, but the lived reality of those who were present, her mother, her sister, and her community, all of whom she claims knew the story long before it reached the internet. What gives her words additional weight is a difficult backdrop of her mother's struggles. Letitia has described the toll of watching illness consume the woman who raised her while she herself took on the role of caretaker, balancing school, work, and raising 4 children of her own, including twins. She frames herself as someone who has carried responsibilities far beyond her years, finally stepping into the light to demand acknowledgement from the billionaire she says left her in the shadows. The sting of her story isn't only in her words, but in the portrait she draws of a daughter locked outside the gates of a dynasty she believes is rightfully tied to her bloodline. Then comes a claim that the silence from the Carters is not out of ignorance, but out of deliberate calculation. Letitia's relatives, including her sister Terry Turner, have joined the chorus, amplifying her allegations with their own recollections. Terry has said on social media that she personally introduced JayZ to Lisa, Letitia's mother, in a Cambridge, Maryland apartment during the early 90s. She recalls seeing them drink, laugh, play cards, and more. "This isn't gossip from strangers," Terry insists. "This is my memory. I'm the one who brought them together."
A lot of potential. Jay was more quiet. But I mean, I learned that Jay was being quiet because he was taking notes. He was taking notes, observing everything, taking it all in. Because, sometimes you're around and you're watching to see things to do. But some people are around.
Testimony shifts the story from a solitary plea into a collective history claimed by those closest to it. And now comes a detail that is social media spiraling, the so-called Cambridge Lake House. A former insider close to JayZ has claimed that Letitia has been living in a property discreetly bought and maintained by the rapper himself. The whispers are pointed, bills quietly covered, maintenance insured, but with one strange stipulation: no photographs of JayZ allowed anywhere inside. According to the account, this was the unspoken bargain: support without acknowledgement, money without a name. If true, it doesn't just hint at a hidden family tie. It suggests a deliberate effort to bury it under wealth and silence. To skeptics, it reeks less of generosity and more of hush money. And the figure being passed around, nearly $1.7 million, makes it hard to dismiss as casual kindness. That's not charity. That's strategy. What adds fuel to the fire is the implication that Beyonce herself may have been involved in keeping the situation from reaching the surface. Picture the pressure inside that marriage, the constant seesaw between loyalty and resentment, between guarding the brand and guarding the heart. JayZ has already admitted infidelity, but a secret daughter? That's not scandal. That's legacy altering.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him. And so he could level
Industry
up Beyonce.
talk suggests Beyonce, ever the tactician, may have played her role in containing the fallout before it could fracture their empire. The quiet funding of a house, the silence surrounding Letitia's demands, and the absence of any DNA testing paint a picture of two people carefully walling off an explosive truth. And this isn't the first time JayZ's name has been tied to paternity disputes. In 2018, Rhymer Satterthwaite came forward, claiming the rapper was his father, a claim backed by his late mother, Wanda, who said she and Jay had been involved in the early 90s. Court papers were filed, hearings scheduled, but every time the case crept toward resolution, it slipped away. Records sealed, cases dismissed, legal arguments about jurisdiction, always maneuvering, but never clarity. The unavoidable question remains, why not just take the test? As Rhymer himself put it, there's one simple way to put the rumors to bed. Yet the answer, year after year, has been refusal. To many on the outside, that very refusal begins to look like confirmation. Now we're dealing with multiple claims across decades and continents.
What's up, what's up? This is Beyonce on the red carpet with one of the hottest female artists out here, Miss Liye. How you doing, girl?
It's so good to see you.
Circling the same man. And JayZ's responses followed a pattern: silence, denial through attorneys, and court filings painting accusers as opportunists. But the avoidance leaves a lingering unease. Is this a behavior of someone defending himself against lies, or someone shielding a truth too dangerous to admit? If the Cambridge Lake House is real, if Letitia's story holds weight, the implications are staggering. It would mean Beyonce, the master of image control, has been playing a high-stakes game, maintaining her empire while knowing pieces of it rested on secrets kept far from public view. And if there's one daughter hidden in Maryland, possibly funded from behind the curtain, then who's to say she is the only one? With Satterthwaite still pushing his case and Letitia's campaign drawing attention online, the whispers are swelling into a roar. How many children might be living in the shadows of JayZ's empire? And what happens if those walls of silence finally break? Adding to the swirl is a rumor that stretches beyond American borders. Industry chatter insists that JayZ fathered a boy in Paris during a fleeting romance with an R&B backup dancer. The story goes that the affair grew complicated, prompting a quiet arrangement, relocation overseas, and financial backing to keep both mother and child.
Beyonce for sure. I love her. I love Beyonce. JayZ too, I really admire the both of them.
Far from the spotlight. For years, it lingered as little more than smoke drifting through music industry circles. But now, in the wake of Letitia's campaign, it's being reconsidered. Was the overseas move about protecting privacy, or protecting an image too carefully crafted to survive the weight of another hidden child? For Beyonce, such a revelation would be nothing short of a nightmare. For years, the world has seen her as the embodiment of grace under fire, the unwavering partner who can transform betrayal into art that dominates the charts. But this would be something far different. This isn't an affair reimagined through a Lemonade anthem. It's a shadow of a concealed child, one rumored to have been sent overseas to protect the Carter's carefully maintained image.
Oh, no, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
For a woman whose legacy is built on strength, loyalty, and the flawless fusion of family and empire, the thought of such a secret surfacing could cut deeper than any previous wound. Whispers suggest that Beyonce has become the silent force behind the scenes, the one ensuring that women from JayZ's past are either bored into silence or pressured into disappearing. Could the discipline we've always admired in her performances also double as the same steel she uses to keep scandal from exploding? If so, the weight of that role is immense. Each fresh allegation isn't just an attack on her marriage. It seeps into her identity as both an artist and a woman who has crafted a career on empowerment, resilience, and control. Every headline reopens scars she may have tried to heal, pulling her private anguish back into public conversation. That there's a crucial difference between addressing infidelity once and reclaiming the story through music versus enduring wave after wave of accusations.
How do you know I'm not a gangster? Or used to be a gangster? I've been in the music industry for 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, the industry's filled with gangsters.
Year after year. These repeated claims about hidden families don't simply bruise her pride. They chip away at the foundation of stability any partner craves. For Beyonce, the struggle is no longer just about preserving her image. It's about shielding her children from the constant noise surrounding their father. As a mother, the emotional toll must be crushing. Raising 3 young children while knowing that, sooner or later, they'll stumble across these stories, whether through tabloids, social media, or classmates' whispers, adds a heavier layer of urgency to her protective instincts. The thought of Blue Ivy, Rumi, and so growing up beneath the looming shadow of their father's alleged past sharpens a resolve to keep their family brand intact. It isn't only about safeguarding her career legacy, it's about protecting her children's emotional safety. Professionally, the danger is just as sharp. Beyonce has built an empire on messages of loyalty, power, and feminine strength.
And my boyfriend tapped me and said, Mary, Shy's on the phone telling us that Aaliyah just got.
Yet every new rumor risks clouding that narrative with reminders of betrayal and hidden truths. In an industry where perception often outweighs reality, even the smallest hint of fractures in her home life can raise questions about authenticity. The result is a relentless balancing act, projecting perfect composure to the world while privately wrestling with turmoil that refuses to stay buried. The psychological toll of this relentless scrutiny is magnified by the reality that Beyonce's life...
I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
...has never fully belonged to her. From her teenage years in Destiny's Child to her reign as a solo powerhouse, every move she's made has been examined under a microscope. Add to that the weight of being one half of music's most famous couple, and it's no surprise that whispers persist about her battling quiet waves of anxiety behind the scenes. This is a paradox of superstardom. The higher she ascends, the more her private life is mined for cracks. Living in those conditions inevitably takes a toll on trust. Trust in her husband, in her circle, and even in her own instincts. Over time, that kind of pressure corrodes confidence, leaving her walled in by the very fortress meant to keep danger out. Repeated betrayal, whether substantiated or not, hardens a heart, making true vulnerability almost impossible. And perhaps that's the most tragic part of these stories, not only whether they are fact or fiction, but the emotional erosion they cause simply by existing. Even without a DNA test, the constant speculation chips away at the illusion of stability. Beyonce, in her mission to protect her family's image, must carry the knowledge that any day another secret might surface, threatening everything she's built. But the speculation doesn't end there. The Paris rumor, the whispers of the Cambridge property, and the unresolved lawsuits all hint at something larger operating beneath the surface. According to insiders, there's talk of a paternity fund, a shadowy account said to hold as much as $5 million. Its alleged purpose, to finance settlements, hush agreements, and quiet payouts designed to smother claims before they ever see daylight. If true, this wouldn't just point to isolated affairs. It would suggest a deliberate...
This is what I look for. When I see a success, I'm looking for anything
to say that they didn't do it on their own?
Detain it.
Infrastructure created to contain decades of indiscretions. Imagine a fund not for philanthropy or investments, but for silence. The implications are chilling. Who has been paid? How many women signed agreements they could never break? How many children grew up under weight of secrets sealed by legal documents and monthly deposits? If Letitia's story carries truth, and if it connects to the Paris whispers and the long trail of court filings, then the idea of such a fund no longer sounds like a rumor. It begins to feel like the only explanation for how so many accusations have flared up and then abruptly faded. Through it all, Beyonce remains the unwavering figure, the smiling wife of premiers, the icon on stage, and the unseen strategist making sure the Karte brand survives intact. We've seen other stars deal with similar storms. Some deny, some pay off, and some clear their name with a single DNA test. But JayZ's refusal to ever take that definitive step, choosing instead sealed records, court maneuvers, and a wall of lawyers, keeps the questions alive. If the fund does exist, it's more than financial planning. It's a mechanism of control, one that may have already buried stories the world will never know. And yet, what if someone refuses to take the payout?
How did you feel initially when Beyonce started dating JayZ, who is very successful, but he's also, generally considered a gangster rapper?
What if more Letitias and Rymers stepped forward armed not with whispers, but with undeniable proof? Suddenly, the image of JayZ as hip-hop's untouchable mogul begins to blur. Is he the target of relentless conspiracy, a victim of fame's magnifying glass? Or is he the architect of a hidden web of